do the right thing and go to the bathroom before I came up here. My name's Mike Wheeler. I was born in a very small town in Ely, Nevada. I was raised on a cattle ranch in a very small town in Colorado. Had a pair of work gloves by the time I was 3. My mother still has them. Haven't had a silver spoon in my mouth yet. My children are intelligent, they're honest, they do what I tell them to do, and they are incredibly inquisitive. And I will take credit for that. I've learned a great deal today, so I'd just like to talk about education. Education, that's the biggest building block. That's the foundation of our society, education. In this state, we spend a lot of money in education. We get a small chunk from the federal government, and they control the whole operation. We spend a lot of money in education, and we graduate a quarter of the students that make it to the 12th grade. 1 out of 3 don't make it to their senior year. When a child cannot read at grade level, when they're in the 3rd grade, they end up being one of these yahoos over here in Lusk, or in the correctional facility in Casper, or over in Rawlins, or they're dead in the street. I think we went through the penal system and found out how many people in there actually had ever registered to vote, had ever cared enough to exercise their First Amendment right. We'd be amazed. There's just not a lot of criminals that care. So, education, that's really where it all starts. I've learned a great deal today, and I hope that all of you are going to take home as much information that I have. I encourage each and every one of you to educate the people that didn't show. Talk to all your friends and your neighbors. If they believe that this 2-party system, which I look at like a big dog with 2 heads. We're the gut, folks. When one head eats something that's rancid, it gobbles down some grass and pukes us out. When another head has a nice tasty morsel, the 2 fight over it. You know, Republicans and Democrats, you just can't tell the difference anymore. And it's not about 2 parties, it's about us people. So educate yourselves, as I was learned today. Thank you very, very much for having me up here. Now I'm going to run to the bathroom.
I guess we're standing up. Last part. You guys know my name is Nick. Yeah. My name is Nicholas Delay. Obviously, I'm young, very ambitious, and a hard worker. Blue collar, always been one of the people. I was enlisted in the military. Probably just better back up here. Yeah. Can anybody hear me now? Okay. Good. You know, that first question where you said, what can you do when you're in there? Mrs. Wallace was right. There's only so much you can do because you might have the entire odds stacked against you. You might go in there with the best ambitions, but get nothing done. I thought about that for a second, and there's something you can do. You can introduce a bill that you know is for the right reasons, and say it gets shot down. Then you introduce it again. You go to the people who voted no on that bill, and you write them letters, you show up on their doorstep, you throw the ambition out there, and you say, hey, this is the bill I introduced, this is why I want to introduce it, this is what it would do to get some of our freedoms back. And your representative, or your senator, shot it down. I'm going to reintroduce this bill in the next legislative action. Now you know. Now you need to give them a phone call, or you need to vote that person out of office. That's what can be done. Okay? I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter. I will always continue to be a fighter. Whether this election is done or not, you ain't seen the last of me. I'm going to be fighting for the Libertarian Party when this is done. I'm going to be fighting for the next office that I'll run for. And I don't want to become a career politician. I want to retire at the position that I'm at right now. But I'm 30 years old. I got time ahead of me, and it's not going to get wasted. I'm going to keep fighting. Thank you.
I come from a family that has been in the West for a long time. And as a kid growing up, you know, you always have those mentors that you look to. Well, I had some unusual ones. I had some unusual female role models. I had 2 great aunts and 1 great uncle who were all world champion saddle walk riders in the 30s. And they traveled all over the world, and they, in a day and an age when that wasn't something that many Americans had an opportunity to do. And so as I was growing up, we're very pretty traditional ranching family as well, you know. You just grew up instilled with this idea that you were responsible for what you know, for the things that you said that you would do, that you were responsible for doing those, and that there really was no limit. That if you wanted to do anything bad enough, that you could. And I think that's something that we can pass to our children. You know, that here in Wyoming, we still have, in spite of the many pressures that we see across the country, here in Wyoming, we still have this great sense of individual responsibility and taking care of our own business and doing the right thing, and really live and let live. You know, you judge people on what they do, not what they look like, not any other characteristics. And so that's one of the things that I'm very, very proud of, being a part of this state and all of our weird-ass diversity, and we certainly are. We come from all sorts of ways of life and ways of being and ways of thinking, and I think that's part of what's marvelous about being here. And so that's, when you have strong families, and you have rich tradition, and you're able to pass that down to your children, that's what tells me that this is going to be a place that I can pass off to the next generation, that I can be proud of leaving some kind of a legacy that says to my children and my grandchildren and great-grandchildren that this is a place where you can do anything you want, that there's still opportunity and you're not constrained by somebody else's idea of what you should be doing.
Richard Mack and I have something in common. Over 35 years ago, I went to Cleon Skousen's seminar on the Constitution out in California. I got quite an education back then. And ever since then, knowing what the Constitution was about, what it's supposed to be, I also have learned where we have strayed. I was interested in not only how we have strayed, but I found out who and why. Then I wanted to find out, look for the remedies so we can try to correct those wrongs. And I've spent years studying, campaigning for, talking, trying to teach those principles. I'm in a position now that I need to step forward and run for an office. And it's not just for that office, but I intend on being a conscience to those around me. Whether I get elected or not, I'm still going to be teaching. One thing that is extremely important, I think all of us need to look at, and that is to put principle over party. That is one of the biggest things that we need to look at. Again, too, like Sue had said, it's not for you and I so much, but we need to be fighting for our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren out there. Life is not going to be pleasant for them in a few years if things don't change.